Alright, let's continue on with this very strange quest where there's a weird cave where two different animals are destined to fight, I guess. Why not? I'm curious. The Book of the Hunt. I don't remember if I read that one already. The bone pins pierce the hide map at a handful of locations along the Glenfathan side of the Bale River. Lion clanswoman. That's a person. I guess we're fighting. Yep, we're fighting. They did mention fighting on site, I suppose. So here we are doing that. It isn't like a giant shockwave. That's always fun. Alright, it has to be on an ally. And kapoof. And they all eat shit, they all fall over, and we end this fight, more or less. Not gonna lie, part of me kind of likes the bright pink crossbow, just because you can so clearly see the crossbow and its and like the mechanics of her winding it that otherwise are like unseeable. Because it's just a little blurry, tiny unit. Most of the graphics in this game are hard to make out, because they're all little tiny people.
Sure.
So you kind of start seeing the fine detail when it's highlighted like that, which is actually part of the reason why they do that in the first place, I think. What's over here? Oh, goes back outside. So I take it this might be related to Galawain's quest, but I'm not courting Galawain. The part of me that just wants to curiously poke around and check things out is just kind of investigating. Because people are like, yo, we got a problem. Can you help us with our problem? And that's more or less like, yeah, alright. I'll take a look. What is the thing on the ground? That is a trap. I was trying to figure out how to click on it, and I couldn't do it. Sneaky, sneaky, sneaky. Combat start? Oh, because you're in the roots. I don't know. Roots doesn't really matter, I guess. Oh, hi. I'm so sorry about the dying. The stones at the edge of the chasm are slick and beaded with moisture. Can I do something with that? The remains of a broken bridge, long collapsed, lead to a deep chasm. The other side of the bridge pierces through the mist at the far end of the chasm, hanging precariously over the steep fall. Examine. The broken stones of the bridge, weathered after centuries of disrepair, are scattered along the edge and side of the chasm. A thin mist rises from below. The stones are coated with slick green moss, making them impossible to grip safely. The wooden beams, lodged between the stones, or on either side of the bridge, seem sturdy enough to support your weight, however. The remains of the broken bridge long collapsed lead to the deep chasm. I said that before. We can use our grappling hook, but like, aren't we just going back to where we already were? Yes. I guess that's for if you don't get the key, like you piss them off or something. You don't agree to their terms, maybe? Hello, lions. They'll be fine. Nah. Little bouncing heal never hurt anybody. I hope. That's the point of a heal. Oh. Takes a while for those 5 to happen. Gain bone. That's part of a poison. I remember that detail. Hit. Out of formation. What? Weird. Oh. Death ring. Okay. The gaze of Adragon, petrified. Wow. I might need to take a rest. I stopped caring about the traps because they've all very clearly been... I'm just waiting for the petrification to wear off, I guess. They've all been, oops. They've all been just some roots. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll walk slightly slower this hallway. Boy, was I wrong eventually. Okay. Man, I really fully committed to everybody getting damage reduction too, didn't I? I feel like it's probably paid off somewhat. And now it's active on everybody. Anyway, let's just not step on that one. It's rather unnecessary. Oh, there was another one. Son of a bitch. It just rested. I didn't even see that one, did I?
Yeah.
These might be very well laid traps. And my trap detection abilities are not keeping up with it, I think.
I'm ready.
I can only do that during combat. It's gonna rapid heal everybody. Wait a moment. There we go. Oh, that's probably her. She's very big. Yet I didn't see. An elven woman intercepts you as you advance into the lair. Behind her is the largest lioness you've ever seen, a sleek beast with fangs as long as carving knives. The woman blocks your path to the lioness, seemingly at ease around the monster. This is Sul's domain, Estremor. You shall not leave it for Oranos or any other challenger. Why does Sul refuse to face Oernos? Oernos is welcome to confront her here, as many challengers have in the past. What the bear's supporters want is for Sul to leave her lair and fight in the open, where he has an advantage. But why should she? If Sul has an advantage here, it's one she's earned. Would anyone expect to blunt the bear's claws in order to even the odds? The Lord of the Hunt gives unique advantages to each. It's not for us to decide that some of them are worth less than others. This is an argument in favor of camping. The lioness gives a low growl, and Dorency smiles. Also, Sul has recently given birth to cubs. They're small now, but when they grow, they'll be mightier than either Sul or Oranos. But if Sul is killed in combat, that bear will tear her young to shreds. Such is the way of the wild. Her legacy is too valuable to perish this way. If we truly want the mightiest of beasts in the maw, then her cubs must grow to maturity. What are you doing here with Sul? She looks at the lion with something between fondness and admiration. Defending the rightful champion of Galawain's maw, Oernos' supporters would have her ousted in favor of a bear that isn't strong enough to come and seize this territory on his own. Goodbye. Where is the bear even? I haven't even seen him. Oh, there. Oh. Wow. He's somehow making the entire thing tremble. Elder lion spotted? What? Oh, behind that wall because it was because of the cutscene. The thorny vines are twisted together, forming a wall. They quiver and begin to part as you draw near. No, there's lions back there. I saw them in the cutscene. Huh. He's fucking big. Yeah. I mean, I think I'm more in favor of keeping the cubs alive than anything else, I suppose. But ultimately, it's one of those things where it's like... One of the many things where it's like a power struggle that's innate to this culture is being decided by me for like the 12th time in the few hours I've been here. And I'm like, I do not have the outside exposure. I learned about this entire scenario minutes ago, and I'm going to decide the outcome of it, which feels a little crass. Maybe I shouldn't be doing this quest at all. And yet, if I start down that path of reasoning, I'm not going to do a lot of quests. Because, frankly, most of the game's not my business. Only the main quest is. That's kind of the premise of how quests work. How side quests work, usually. Einen sighs, spinning his axe by the shaft. Too much waiting. Something's got to happen. Soon. Awareness isn't the rightful champion.
If you stand on the side of that toothless old bag of bones, then you stand in my way.
Try me. Oh. I think he's going to try me. Well. This is probably a good time to level up Pallegina. Before we deal with the consequences of this. 7. We want to get at least to 8. Because that's the received healing multiplier. And she's a paladin. So she heals herself and others a lot. So having that as an option would be nice. There's so many abilities, and I have to check them all to tell which ones are the ones are the old ones and which ones are the new ones. So whenever I down an enemy, everyone gets 7 defenses for a bit, which is nice. Cannot be active with other zealous auras. I think I have the other zealous aura already, if I remember correctly. Liberating exhortation, hostile effects go away. Move speed and disengage defense. A mark enemy once per encounter. It's basically identical to the other character's marked target. Yeah. It's like the one that the hunter has, except the hunter's one also affects their pet. Deprive the unworthy. Yep. Reinforcing exhortation. Plus 25 deflection on allies. Coordinate attacks. Oh, right. 10 accuracy when on the ally it's fighting the same target as you. Unfortunately, it won't affect Sagani. So it won't affect her crits. Because it'll generally be another melee user. But that's a good bonus. Righteous Soul. So just high resistance against... Wow. Charmed, dominated, frightened, terrified. I was like, okay, mind things. Then I got to poison and disease. I'm like, that caught me by surprise. I wasn't expecting those to also be affected. Hastening exhortation. 20% attack speed. Per rest though. Sacred immolation. The paladin focuses his or her faith and self-immolates in blue flame. Each time the ability pulses, the paladin takes a small amount of raw damage, but enemies in the area take burn damage. Allies receive a small amount of endurance. It heals people too? So, 37 seconds. 6 damage to self, but enemies take 30 damage. And allies gain 11 endurance. That's pretty good shit. That's just an all-around good things happen to my allies, bad things happen to the enemies, just across the board. Although for self-damage, it's comparable. The self-damage almost isn't worth it in part because it's like it's comparable to what I'm already doing with my chanter. Although this is another burn AoE to stack on top of my chanter's chance, that just means so much damage is happening continuously over the course of the fight, and she can use it every fight. Just have to do something to deal with the damage she's going to be taking. Abjuration. Through force of will, the paladin can destroy any spirit or summoned creature below the paladin's level. Spirits and summoned creatures equal to or greater than the paladin's level take raw damage. Wow. So once per encounter, she just gets to delete a summon. And if they're strong, or if they're too strong, do a lot of damage to a summon. That's pretty good, but I like the use of I enjoy the versatility of Sacred Immolation. And also just kind of want to see it in action. Pull out Firebrand, cast Sacred Immolation on myself, and just everything is on fire now. Selection group 7 not set. What did I must have pressed something else at the same time as quick save. Gotcha.
I'm ready.
And so the fight begins. First, Firebrand. Start with that one. That'll be fun. She's got it. And Sacred Immolation. This'll be fun. Would you guys like to take some fire damage? Ow. Whoa. Oernos did not like that. Oernos did hundreds of damage. She has over 200 health, and the pulsing Sacred Immolation did not do that. Yeah, like there's 116 damage right there from a crit. And she's prone. Oh my god. That's a bad time. Where's my shield from damage ability? That's 40 focus. Yeah, I don't have that one. Yeah, let's get some revenge with the spell that was inflicted upon me once upon a time. See how they like some plague of insects. Pallegina should try to heal herself, but she can't necessarily because she's prone, but I'll give her the command anyway. But it's not great news for her. The best I can do is try to take down... Just try to knock this boss on his ass, which probably won't happen. There's too many enemies between me and him, actually. Unfortunately. I can try to knock somebody on their ass and hope for the best. Let's try some negative effects just to push things in our direction a bit. I hope. If nothing else, I think Pallegina... There it goes. I think she still has the ability to come back to life after one downage per fight, I think. We'll see. But yeah, her abilities didn't exactly last, did they? Just trying to stack a few negative things. Yeah, that took care of some things. All right, Pallegina. I take it that self-immolation and... Oh, Firebrand is still active. I guess it's because she summons it as a weapon that she's equipping, so it doesn't go away, even if she dies, evidently. But she has a wrenched knee, and she's hobbled, and she lost her self-immolation, but she can heal herself a little bit. Yeah, they're not lasting so well these days. Yes. Let's paralyze some dudes. There's not much fight left, though. Yaskia, no! Quick. Suck his soul out. Wow. That happened. You know what? No judgment. I'm just embracing your culture and all of the confusing elements of it and playing the role you asked me to play, which is apparently to just pick a fight. Seems like it didn't really seem like getting them to actually fight was an option. So it was basically just pick a team that's going to win. And they were already willing to play dirty, because that guy said he was willing to just have me go kill the lion. And it's like, alright, well, what if I just kill the bear? Boom. I may be patient, but Soul isn't. Unless you have news about the bear's demise, you'd best keep your distance, lest you find yourself here during dinner time. I've dealt with Oernos. You chose well. Soul's cubs will grow up to be quick and fierce, and so will the fangs if we follow their example. She looks at the sleek lioness. Thank you for resolving this, Estremor. There we go. This was almost certainly one of the faction's quests, but not the god that I was currying favor for. Which means I don't have to worry about whether or not the answer I chose was the one that they're happy with, because I'm not in it for that. If anything, I'm in it for that compulsive decision to always go questing that we game players always seem to be so infected with. Alright, well now I'm curious about Noonfrost. We'll take a look at that. Oh right, I was supposed to go talk to the guy out front, I guess? Oh, the front of Galloway's Deathwin. That actually might have been not out here. Yeah, I'm supposed to go back inside, aren't I? Whoops. Would you like some more loading screens? Hooray. Wonder how mad they'll be at me. I feel like this isn't good news to them.
Still looking around? Watch your step. Tempers run hot around here, and not just among the animals.
I've dealt with the situation between Sul and Awarenos. And Sul remains the champion. Many of the fangs are gladdened to see her stay. Perhaps it's Galloway's way of telling us to remember our roots and prize our cunning as hunters. Thank you for your help, Kareth. May Galloway guide your path. Take this, with our thanks. He seems to suddenly remember something. You might visit Tyr Evron to pray to the Lord of the Hunt. He sometimes grants special favors for those who prove themselves. Huh. I wonder if they're suggesting that I did the right thing. Not necessarily the morally right thing, but just like the thing that was right for what would have made Galloway happy. I wonder if we'll end up pleasing all of the gods. I don't know. I feel like I might encounter the Skane faction quest. And then, like, do the exact opposite of what he would have wanted from me. They've got some morbid interests. And a whale is not satisfied by anything. Technically, I already did a quest that satisfied a whale. Specifically. I found the secret message and then specifically got rid of it or hid it or whatever. Because that's what he liked. Vestiel. The pale elf searches you with ice blue eyes. She shifts and knits her fingers together. Welcome to Noonfrost. Most of the temple is currently closed for sacred ceremonies to Rimmergand. Ah, yeah, that's one of the not great ones, right? Yeah, because it's like the god of cycles, but worse, because he's like spiteful and shitty about it. He's just about destruction, if I remember correctly. There's a lot of gods. I think some of my memories are already fading from that episode where we tried to do all that. There's a lot to take in. She forces a smile and waves to the eastern doorway. The shrine is to your right. You're welcome to make your offerings to Rimmergand there. But the rest of the temple is off limits. Tell me about Rimmergand. He's the god of cold, entropy, and collapse. Okay, so I was right. Without the cycle. Many see him as a harsh god, but few recognize that he also gives life in his own way. All things wind to a merciful end in his shadow, only to feed creation elsewhere. That sounds like you're misinterpreting it as being the other god that's actually about cycles. She frowns, gnawing her lip. But he is a silent god, and his ways are mysterious. To follow him is to accept inevitability without explanation. In this matter, and in the legacy, it seems the gods are often silent when we most crave guidance. Her eyes dart between the two doors on either side of the room. If that's all... Why is most of the temple closed? as I said, we're in the middle of sacred ceremonies, she enunciates carefully. They're rather complex, and we don't permit outsiders to witness them. She glances at the elves over her shoulder. Others of my clan get rather touchy about them, which is why you should visit the shrine and take your leave. What are you doing here? My clan journeyed from the White That Wends to pay homage to Rimmergond here in Noonfrost. We'd learned that this place had been abandoned for several years, and we felt it our duty to tend to one of our god's oldest temples. She rolls her shoulders back. It has been a long journey, but Rimmergond demands endurance. No doubt he will reward us for ours. With what? Your death? Seems to be his one thing. Sagani's mouth is set into a grim frown. I hope it is. Goodbye. The pages of this tome glisten under a thick layer of frost. So you can't read the book, basically. Alright. Not supposed to go in there. Is this the shrine? Hold, Wanderer. Venturing beyond old doors is forbidden. Do not trespass against our will. So old doors are bad. If you open any door, you get in trouble. Is that him? Each line and wrinkle of this warrior's weather-beaten frown has been chiseled from the ice. Might be him. Somebody just opened the door over there? What are they doing over there?
They shall see. I shall do as you ask.
Shh! Don't tell anyone.
What you ask is done.
I'm very naughty. Blue crystal key and pearls and opals. This key, its handle carved in the semblance of an aurochs head, was cut from a light blue crystal. No farther. That guy's not walking, he's just sliding. Turn back and do not cross any doors. The halls beyond us belong to Rimmergond and his faithful. Huh.
Quiet.
I can't put it back. Oh. Well, sorry. I was gonna put the key back because I was like, this is... Yeah, I'm leaving. You guys have fun with your death god and stuff. I don't really have any reason to trespass or to overstep my bounds. Unlike the other one, this appears to be a quest that only goes further if you are actually pursuing that favor. Or you're somebody who just likes to randomly antagonize people for fun. But no, they're not like, here is our plight, traveler. This is the local conflict we're having, where our clan is once again divided in twain on this one specific point. We need a neutral person to solve it for us, which has happened like 100 times already. Nope, not this time. Time to finally go to the Northweald. We've heard so much about it. And then past that will be the Temple of Hylia, where we will apparently fight a dragon. So that'll be rad. Happened a few times already. Wonder what element this one will be. Lightning? Is it going to be a lightning dragon? So there are multiple...
The figurine. It's glowing.
Yep. Yeah, there's more quests happening here than I can even keep track of, honestly. So we're gonna explore and kind of just stumble across a lot of it as we go. The tracks and bloodstains continue further east. Oh, new quest. What the well holds. A few miles north of Kindle Vale sits a tiny village called Whitewreath. So small that it's often missed on maps and tax records. The village has little contact with the rest of the Deerwood. Despite its tiny size, the village has a long history, dating back to its use as a Glenfathan tribal camp over 3 centuries ago. One of the most prominent features of the community is a deep well on top of which is made from Ingwithan Adra. Though not of any religious significance to the Glenfathans, all who see it agree that the well is truly ancient. In recent years, locals have reported strange sounds from within the well. Some describe it as animal sounds, others as odd speaking in a foreign language. No one has dared venture down into the well, but villagers are becoming nervous about drawing water from it. Though the community has modest resources at their disposal, they have reached out to nearby lords for assistance. You know what, Aloth? You go ahead. I believe in you. Some of these people are some of the other people I can choose from are kind of unhinged. This spear, broken in half, has ornate Glenfathan etchings along 2 halves of its shaft. The wet wood shows dents stained green with moss, probably from impacts against the river's rocks. The tracks and bloodstains continue further east. There's boars. They seem non-hostile. I've really leaned all in on mechanics, huh? Sure. Stasis shell. The cipher is able to isolate a single enemy from the world, leaving them unable to act. Just turn an enemy off for 30 seconds, basically. Or time parasite. Oh, can I afford 2 of them? I can. Can't get any from that tier. Do I have everything from that tier? Maybe. Time parasite. By siphoning power from the enemy's souls, the cipher is able to slow them down and increase his or her speed. Whoa. Stealing one enemy's attack speed, reducing it by 50%, it's already pretty big. Doing it and then having it jump to 5 more targets? So 6 people can all get their attack speed reduced by 50% for about 20 seconds. That's pretty cool. And this one just to turn somebody off for a while. It makes sense. Just a little high cost to get that many of, though. I think I do still like this one that reduces incoming attacks by a significant amount. I think I like going between and time parasite. First time I haven't bought both of the new spells, or 2 of the new tier. But like these are getting really expensive. 60 focus, 70 focus, like there's often like having a healthier variety in the lower tiers kind of makes sense because of the way that she generates her resources. But also I'm partly just afraid that I'll spend 70 resources for the sake of eliminating one enemy because they're so dangerous or something, and then they just resist it, and then I'm like, wow, I spent 70 on them resisting it. Cool. Over here, hurry. Swyneth hides in the tall underbrush. Twigs poke out of her hair. Chunks of dried mud cling waist high to her leather leggings. Quiet, keep low. Take a look. She points up to the ridge. My friends are up there, over the lip of the hill. What's going on? The fangs must have caught the scent and rushed the group. She begins to run her gloved fingers over her hair and stops. The pressure snaps one of the twigs stuck on her black curls. Some of my friends are still alive, but the fangs have them surrounded. The expedition. Swyneth brings her hand back to the pommel of Rastok, or what remains of it, has taken cover in some ruins above the cliffs. The fangs must be toying with them, or letting them starve a bit before the next attack. We need to act, or they're as good as dead. How did the fangs get here? Swyneth looks down at her bare feet. Down to her feet, shaking her head slowly. I cut a decoy path, set false campfires, and dusted over every footprint I could find. It didn't slow them much. I'll see what I can do. Swyneth nods. Maybe you can find a way around the fangs. There's got to be another way up to that ridge. She wipes away the sweat from her brow, her glove leaving behind a dirty smudge. You aren't dressed like my men. Perhaps you could try talking to the fangs? They may not think you're with us. She grabs her hand, squeezing it. Please, help. I already have enough friends to bury. Swyneth releases your hand and crouches down into the vegetation, blending back into the brush. Yeah, y'all have been making some poor choices. Because weren't they... I'm pretty sure I remember them, like her admitting that they were just grave robbing, or they were raiding the tombs. And it's like, you know what they do. This was a bad plan. Fangs Brightblood, is that their leader?
Tread carefully, Estramore.
An elven woman stands beside a stag, petting the great beast on its neck. As you approach, the animal jerks its head in your direction and rears up. Stillness! The woman orders the stag, pulling on the skin of the stag's neck until it ceases to buck. Easy now. No need to fight. Yet. She turns to face you. One ear is missing its top half, and many battle scars raise her otherwise smooth skin. More foreigners, more unclean feet trampling on our lands, more blood to feed the trees. She shakes her head. You should not be here, Estramore. Her hand moves to one of several blades strapped to her hips. If you are here in our lands, it's either to steal from us or to aid those who would. She gestures to the north, at the ruins of Engwithan buildings protruding from the underbrush. Deerwood and mercenaries. Looters. Can you hear their panicked whispers? Leave this place at once, or we will kill you when we finish with these Estramorn. I am a friend of Ioglanfath. She holds her gaze on to you. The great stag stomps its front hooves on the ground and turns to its master. Do you speak the truth, foreigner? If you are indeed a friend, you would respect our lands and not defile our sacred soil with your trespass. The woman clenches her jaw. Its muscles quiver under the pressure until suddenly calm returns to her expression. If you have no bonds of kin or kith with the looters, I will give you a chance to prove it. She draws one of her swords, and with a swift, arcing motion, points it to the ruins beyond. The invaders must be purged from our lands. Prove your worth, and we will believe your words. Tell me about these mercenaries. Raiders, looters, same as all the other dear wooden thieves that pillage our lands. The woman touches the oblique stub where half of her ear used to be. We tracked the deer woodens from their first step beyond the great river and waited for them to err. They always do. We claimed half their pack in our first assault. The cowards that ran now huddle to the north. When the wind turns, you will smell their fear. If they surrender, will you let them live? Softness such as yours will not bring them to heel. Their greed knows no bounds. Their memory honors no history. What use have we for prisoners? What example do you set to others by letting them live? She shakes her head. Why would we forgive again? I don't have 17 resolve? I thought I had 18 resolve when I checked a moment ago. God damn. Stats are so mercurial in this game. They just flop around whenever they feel like. Every time I check, they're different numbers. There's just so many buffs that come and go for various reasons, including rest. Did I lose the resting bonus? That might be it. Seems like if I did more quests, I could appease them. Since there's a reputation check. Why don't you deal with them yourself? The woman runs a finger along her lower lip, looking at you through narrowed eyes. I gave you an order. Accept it like a grown hunter, or refuse it like a mewling child, but do not question my will. I won't do it. The stag arches its neck, aiming its rack of sharp horns in your direction. The huntress runs her finger along the beast's spined antler. Then you will die like any other trespasser. The woman whistles, and our hunting party attacks. Okay. This is not going to be one of those times where I can come back later with a better reputation, like we did in Defiance Bay. Refusing to murder Deer Woodens means they're going to kill me. There is no walk away option. Oh boy. Well, they've chosen poorly. Flame. Here's a flame sword, and now I'm on fire. Isn't this fun? Yeah, this isn't going to be a good time for you guys. No one has enough damage to warrant a healing chain. Oh, their companions are all knocked out already. Yeah, take out that guy. Flame attack. Ooh, that was a lot of damage immediately. Activated Stalgar mode. Is this guy subterranean right now, or is he just a series of roots? What's happening there? Wasn't he supposed to be an autumn Stalgar? He looks very blue-gray now. Oh, that wasn't him. My bad.
Yeah.
That wasn't Herafius. I thought I was keeping track of him correctly, but I was not. Well, you try to make the right decision in these games, but they're full of characters that are more than happy to make the decision for you. And when you press the issue, well, things that attack me die. And surprisingly often, you don't have to be the one who even chooses to attack. You guys are assholes, and this is all your fault, by the way. And you really brought this upon yourselves and them. Stop, friend or foe. The man in blood-soaked armor points his blade at you as his wounded and weary comrades flock into position behind him. A trickle of blood runs from a cut on his brow down to his neck, staining a locket worn on a gold chain. You're not Glenfathan. He tightens the grip on the sword's handle. By Mogren, friend or foe, I said. Lie? Friend? Will we turn on them now after we killed the people already? Calm down, I'm a friend. The sword, still pointed at you. The man gives you a sideways glance to his companions and nods. The mercenaries lower their weapons. By the flame, the hero of Defiance Bay. A rare and welcome sight. Friends this far from home. He lets the weight of his sword lower his arm. He gives a concerned look to his mercenary company. Look at us, hiding in the rocks and holding in our guts. He points south. The fangs, they've bloodied us and now we're trapped. Swyneth sent me. What happened? Resourceful girl. The captain huffs a chuckle before turning to his humorless frown. We assumed the Glenfathids killed her before coming upon us. I'm relieved she's still alive. Doubly relieved she brought help. He rests his sword, still caked with blood, across his shoulders. The tribesmen ambushed us just as we made camp. The fight was a lopsided slaughter. Esmer stares at his feet as he finishes his thought. In the melee, someone tripped through the campfire. We were lucky in that regard. The stench of burning flesh and the choking smoke obscured the scene, and a few of us managed to withdraw. We ran to these ruins to regroup, but now we're trapped. You're not trapped now. The face painters are just south of our position, and they have us cornered. No doubt they're happy to let us starve, while they rest and rebuild their strength before attacking anew. His left hand idly toys with a locket worn around his neck. Seems this is where we'll be making our last stand, he mutters as he clenches the gold ornament. At least you didn't lose your locket in the scuffle. Focusing on the positive, he asks with a laugh as he flips the locket between his calloused fingers. This is for my son, for when he's old enough to be trusted with such things. Born a few months ago. Not hollow, Hylia be praised. He jumps around, doesn't he? Praising Magran and Hylia in turn. I've dealt with the Glenfathans. Esmar blinks and arches his eyebrows in surprise. All of them? No, not like the entire capital fucking city. The creases around his eyes deepen as his smile grows. The mercenary captain turns to his company. Hear that, boys? Looks like we've got a way out. Get to it. They cheer, and their voices kindled with purpose, and spring into march. Esmar raises his fist and shakes it, the locket dancing as if jerked to life. The captain nods and gives you one last look before joining his companions. Well, it is what it is. That's how a lot of the quests unfold around here. It is what it is. Hello, troll. Anything back here? Not really. Kind of. Oh. Path seems to go for a while. Ooh. There's a spirit down there. Okay, so this is like a whole direction. Gotcha. Let's go talk to Swyneth real quick, just to wrap it up. I thought this might be a dead end because they were trapped, but there was dialogue about that too. He probably was going to say something along the lines like if they ran, they would just get tracked more like they always have been. Because they always have been, apparently. Swyneth, her gloved hands half buried on the waves of her rebellious hair, watches your approach, incredulous. You did it! Her dimples frame a beaming smile. She lets out a sigh of relief and wags her finger at you. We'll be chanting your name back in the gift. Everyone will know what you've done for us, I promise. She scratches her cleft chin with her free hand and gives you a measuring look. But You're the type to deserve more than just praise. Coin? Weaponry? She rubs her gloved fingers together. Or if nothing tangible suits your fancy, I'll gladly share my skills with you. Learn from your skills? What the fuck does that mean? I'd like to learn from your skills. Swyneth nods enthusiastically. I was hoping you'd say that. She removes the gloves from her hands, stowing them in her back pocket. When you spend as much time as I do in the ruins, you learn to strike first, and to strike without warning. She holds her S-stock out in front of her, its blade parallel to the ground. The key is efficiency of movement. Dungeon Delver. I got an ability? She walks you through several footwork drills that focus on quiet footfalls and measured breathing. Place all your weight on the final step when you're ready to strike, she yells for emphasis as she demonstrates a swift, silent lunge. As you follow her examples, she nods in satisfaction. I think you've got the grasp of it. I'm honored to teach you something new. She half curtsies and then turns to take her leave. I don't know what it is, but it's probably more useful than anything else I was going to get, considering this is my money situation. And I'm probably set in my ways weapon-wise by now. Preymaker, that's the weapon we got earlier. Hunting bow. Ranger only, so just you, Sagani, and we've already chosen something for you. +1 perception, fast bow, accurate 3. This bow is made entirely of various body parts from numerous creatures. Like it's from fucking Monster Hunter. Fangs, claws, teeth, and bones can be seen interlocking throughout the weapon structure. While every inch looks sharp and dangerous to touch, it feels remarkably smooth and delicate in one's hands. Though the bowyer's identity is unknown, a master's understanding of archery and an unsettling degree of expertise in bestial anatomy are readily apparent. To hold Preymaker is to bear the feeling of assured victory, as though the wielder's attacks will find their way to the target as a predator finds its prey. That's a trippy idea. Even the string, though? I don't know if that makes sense for sure or not. So Dungeon Delver, is that an ability on this bar? No. That must be a passive. Of which there are so many. Oh, that's not bad for a random quest to give you. Dear wooden looters have developed a few tricks for skulking around in old Ingwithan ruins. He won't really use the stealth or mechanics part necessarily. Otherwise, like if you're a stealth and mechanics character, this is like an incredible buff to have those good bonuses too. But 10% crit damage is just good shit. Like that's just a good bonus to have. All of my crits are better on this character for the rest of the playthrough. That's not bad at all. Go ahead and path back up there again. Wow. Over 1,000 gained from taxes with less than only about 23. That's barely any lost. I get a kick out of having Grammarfell in prison. That bastard. He knows what he did. No, he doesn't. That was a different timeline. I know what he did. And I don't like him. But yeah, I'm unlikely to use any weapons people give me at this point in the playthrough. Unless it totally blows my mind. And I'm also unlikely to need money. So, them being able to upgrade my character directly is a hell of a reward. I'd take that every time if it was actually an option, which it never is, because that would be insane to be a regular thing. Now you're all on fire. Enjoy. Yeah, they're not gonna last. I'm having a little bit too much fun with Pallegina lighting herself on fire. Bit of an overcommitment. I didn't really need to use Firebrand there, but I did. Anyway, what are my stats? My resolve is 16. But I must have had +2 for my resting bonus. So if I just hadn't rested one more time, that quest would have ended differently. Kind of crazy to think about how on the wire some of this stuff is.
Yeah,
Like, if I just was having a better day where I had better bed rest, then, like, somebody's life turns out differently. Several people's lives turn out differently as a result. Also could have happened if I just did some quests over here and then went back to town and then turned them in, and I'd have, like, a reputation here that might be a little higher. And then suddenly, I'm not the person who gets that to happen. Ally, faintly good. Yeah. My reputation with Twin Elms is probably 1. Ooh, my reputation with Ethic Knoll is troublemaker. Bad. Golden Grove, faintly good. The Fangs, neutral. Stalwart, overwhelmingly good. Right, I don't remember which reputation it was. Was it Ethic Knoll or was it Ovates? I think it was Twin Elms. I have a lot of overwhelmingly good reputations. Dozens, eccentric, faintly mixed. Fair. House Dominel, terror, overwhelmingly bad. You bet your ass I am. I've earned that. I've earned that fear. The day I learned the name of the day I learned the name Dominel, I wiped out their entire manor. It's a hell of a day. Cat's Claw, where did the I don't remember where you came from. I'm losing track of these things. Unique, one-handed sword. Exceptional, 3 DR bypass. A knight once roamed the living lands in pursuit of adventure. Though few knew his name, all recognized him by his blade. A graceful weapon fixed to a lion's head pommel and a crossguard shaped like rending claws. And by the black cat that followed at his heels. While some believed the cat to be the knight's companion and familiar, others claimed that she was a spirit-shifted druid who had forged the knight's sword with a piece of her essence. The blade, long and slender, was said to slash at the soul of the knight's opponents. Did I just get that as the reward for that quest? Oh god, it's the wrong menu to check. I don't think I did, though. No, I think I must have picked that up earlier. A lot happens per hour. Let's look into this. Oh yeah, I read this already. My students ask me questions and I'm like, you've already failed, idiot. You're not supposed to ask questions, loser. I'm Gallowayne. I don't like Gallowayne very much. Can't believe I found Ire Glonfath Part 2 just to continue my annoying history of doing that kind of shit. Buying them all out of order. Let's start on the Saints' War, why don't we? The Saints' War Part 1, Overthrow. There is much debate with historians as to when the Saints' War really began. It is widely accepted that the event that instigated it was the sanctuary flight of Ratsuran citizens to the Deerwood. This led to direct strife between two nations that escalated into battle, the Saints' War. But it is the author's opinion that this war truly started many years before. After the miracle of the Verdant Vorlus, as it came to be known, Wadwin quickly gathered followers, drawn to the stories of Eothas' miraculous prophet. His power grew. Eventually, Wadwin had gained enough support that he confronted the imperial governor. Assisted by a collection of knights and nobles who had been swayed to his cause, he marched on the capital city. The governor was allowed to live, but was forced to abdicate power and leave the colony. This was not from any understanding or easy acquiescence from the governor, but because of what happened when Wadwin entered the governor's palace. As Wadwin approached the governor, according to accounts, his body turned into something that was no longer human. His flesh became luminescent, and his head transformed into pure, blinding light. Other accounts suggest that Wadwin had become a being of light at an earlier time, when he was whipped in the public square. The outcome of his visit to the palace, however, is uncontested. The governor, knowing there was no way he could oppose an avatar of Eothas, relinquished his power. The people then asked Wadwin to lead the colony. He accepted, earning his name the Divine King of Ratsurus. Wadwin's rule was virtually uncontested. Initially, this was because everyone was awed that a god had chosen to manifest himself and lead his people. This changed as Wadwin began punishing the allies of the old empire and the poison of the world. What he considered corrupt churches or church leaders of Aothis. Scrutiny escalated, and soon worshippers of Aothis were also being punished for mere perceptions of heresy. Members of other religions were also added to the list of persecuted for following different faiths. This caused large segments of the population to flee Retsaris for the Deerwood, begging for sanctuary. This caused strife between the two nations. The people of the Deerwood knew that they could not sustain explosive population growth if Wadwin's rule were to continue unchecked. They also feared that his eye would turn from Retsaris and land on them next, if nothing was done. This was exactly what ultimately happened. An open war broke out as Wadwin moved to spread his dominion into the lands of Deerwood. So he abused the shit out of his power, it looks like, long term. But there's also the concern of, like, I'm aware that godlikes exist in this game. I was allowed to make one if I wanted to, even. So, like, knowing that people can have glowy heads and stuff, and that's just a thing that roams around, part of me is like, how does him shimmering in light even confirm him being a god? It seems like the godlike race, which merely does have the name of being godlike to infer their status, it seems like they're all capable of glowing and having elements around their head and stuff like that. Like, frankly, being a bird woman seems relatively tame compared to some of the other versions that I've seen potentially roaming around. So, like, the idea that they would secede the entire kingdom to him based on that seems like, I don't know. I feel like I'd interpreted him as just being one of them. Part 2. Invasion. Wadwin personally led many of the battles during the war, exhibiting extraordinary supernatural powers. He seemed virtually untouchable on the battlefield, able to burn or even disintegrate his enemies with beams of blinding white light, a thing that my druid can do. With a god on his side and possibly, as some said, inhabiting him, he was thought to be indestructible. It appeared that he may have been until the Battle of Howgot Citadel. The people of the Deerwood knew they would lose the war if they could not at least slow Wadwin down. Engineers, priests of Magran, and a few others worked in secret, some say with Magran's direct help, developing a weapon they hoped would be able to stop a god. 12 feet in diameter and filled with a variety of chemical and magical explosives, the bomb was rolled under Evon Duer Bridge. Part of the foundation was excavated in order to allow them to embed the bomb in the bridge itself, ensuring its total concealment. 12 Deerwooden men and women volunteered to stage an ambush at the bridge to keep Wadwin on it until the bomb could be detonated. The battle was short, bloody, and ultimately final. The Dozen, as they became known, were able to delay Wadwin on the bridge. The bomb detonated, killing Wadwin. The 4 Deerwooden volunteers still alive at the time, and over 50 Ratsaran soldiers marching on the front line with Wadwin. It was at that moment the Saints' War ended. The remaining Ratsaran forces were easy to rout, even though they had more than enough men and equipment to finish the siege. Their leader, previously thought invincible, had just vanished in a rain of metal and stone. Panic set in, and the Deerwooden troops sent them away with ease. From that point on, the bomb was known by the name Godhammer. It even worked its way into everyday conversation. As sure as Godhammer ended the Saints' War, came to be a standard phrase to express the unequivocal certainty. Oh, damn it. Less certain is the fate of Aothis, who has not spoken to his followers since the explosion of the bomb, and is presumed by most to be dead. Lest some concerned citizens express their worry, or other more industrious think that they could reproduce the result, the author would put the thoughts from your heads. Since that time, there has never been another documented explosion of such magnitude. The efforts to locate the engineers and clergy responsible for the bomb have been entirely fruitless. Godhammer was a unique, fortuitous occurrence. It's like we'll never be seen again without divine intervention. Hey, hey, Durance. I'd like to make a commission. Durance. Could really help with the Theo situation if we could just like throw a bomb in that hole we're about to jump in.